We got married in 2011 and we started trying to get pregnant right away. After 6 months of no success, we contacted Gundersen. We started out with the least invasive, least aggressive methods and worked our way up to IVF. The first time we did the IVF, we actually had to do the whole egg harvest and the replacing of the embryos. The second time we did it, we had extra embryos that were frozen, so we didn't have to go through the whole process of producing the eggs and harvesting them again. So then the third time came around, we had 3 embryos remaining, and that was when we talked about not just stopping the process. It had been going on 3 years already. It was just emotionally and mentally draining. And that's when we brought up to the doctors and the nurses, what are our chances that this is actually going to happen? And they told us that they still believed it could happen for us. So we went on with the third frozen embryo transfer. We went in on a Thursday to get the blood test. That was the first blood test we got the positive, but that's when we didn't let ourselves get excited yet because we had 2 failures prior to that. The 2 days later you go back in to have another blood test and make sure that the levels had risen, and that's a true positive. Our friends were in town and they were running the half marathon that morning, and we were waiting at the finish line for our friends, and my phone buzzed in my pocket. So I just took myself away and kind of went over the riverside, and the nurse told me that yes, the levels had doubled like they were supposed to, or more than doubled, and it was a positive, and congratulations. And I just remember thinking, oh my gosh. And so thank you so much. And I put my phone back in my pocket and I just went over to Wayne and I was just like, she's positive. I think on the way home, after we kind of were alone, then it was like, oh my gosh, can you believe this is really happening?
The irony of where we were at, because we felt like we had been on a marathon ourselves, and we still were keeping it to ourselves till we could kind of get our own emotions in check.
That first ultrasound, they told us that you will actually see a heartbeat, a little flicker of light. When we saw that flicker, I think that's what made it real.
All that we had gone through to that point, and then still a pregnancy out ahead of us, that was more of an exciting thing now because the process to get there was so much.
9 months later, we had a beautiful baby girl.
That's where the team at Gundersen worked for us.
The nice thing about their approach was that they were very open about people in our similar situation. If we were doing an insemination or we were doing an IVF, people in your same category who have this, and this same factor as you, this is a success rate they had. And there was never any pressure. If you want to stop right now, it's okay. You did what you could, and no one's going to think any different of you. It felt like they always gave us options. They were always very honest with us, and we appreciated that.
Even though there was a lot of technical things going on, it was always about us as people, and it's work for them, but it never felt like that for us. It just felt like it was then trying to do the best thing you can for a time that was could be very emotionally tough on a couple. She just turned a year old. It seemed like it flew by, but yet because of the emotional excitement of being a family, I don't remember not having her anymore.
She is a very easygoing, happy baby. We are very lucky.
It just came out perfect, I guess, in the end.
Yep. It all just worked out just the way it was supposed to.